One of the things I do with assessments is I set a very high standard, and I make it clear to my students that I expect them to achieve a high standard. And I talk in terms of professionalism. You're being a professional and you need to you need to reach professional standards. And I model that. I give them materials that are well referenced and well argued, and I walk the talk as best I can to set the model for what it is I expect. The students struggle with the high standards I set often, and in the first assignment, typically up to 60% of the class will get less than 50%. That's a difficult time in semester, in walking into a lecture theatre where students are very upset and they say, I've never had such low grades, and there's this sort of very edgy atmosphere. What I do though is it's all about the learning. I want the students to find that capacity to reach the standard that I think they should be striving for. So I allow them to resubmit their assignment. And I do them a deal. I give them a couple of weeks and I say, you will get the mean score, the average score of the original submission and the resubmission. And curiously, many students who have gotten high distinction in the first submission ask if they can resubmit as well. And I say, of course you can. I'm delighted. If you're responding to my feedback on your written work and you want to resubmit and get a better grade, that's fantastic. In their case, with the mean score, they'll only be going up a mark or two, and they're already in the high distinction band. So it's quite an amazing thing. Meanwhile, students who are might have got 40% or 45% in the first submission, they can, through work, and I make myself available to work with them too about how they can actually improve their work beyond the written comments feedback I've given them. They typically come back with work that would sit pretty close to a credit distinction or high distinction level. They really learn a lot in that process of rewriting. And so their grade nearly always comes out into the pass or credit range. Overall, by the end of semester, I have very few students actually fail my units. Students withdraw from the unit. That usually happens when the first assignment's due, or thereabouts. I try and coincide the first assignment with the hex census date to allow people to withdraw and not get the financial penalty of the hex census date. In other words, the students realise that I'm really serious about the quality and the level of work and commitment to their study, to the topic, to the subject. And they can choose to withdraw if they like. Those that stay in there might initially do badly in the first assignment, but I give them that second chance, and that's when the real learning occurs. Often in the student feedback on the end of my courses, the students will write things like, I feel like I've learnt the most I've ever learnt before, or no one's ever taught me how to write before, how to communicate before, or I really feel I got this topic. And I feel it's, for me, I believe it's that resubmission process. If you think about when we do research and we write a journal paper, we write draft after draft, and then we have it peer reviewed, and then we do it again. So why don't we teach our students that way? That's when we craft really good work. The curious thing about getting students to resubmit marked work is my colleagues nearly always say to me, why would you increase your marking load? Doesn't that just, drag you down? It's actually really easy to mark the resubmission. I do all my assignments electronically. I bring up the old marked version and quickly scan that. I look at the new one, and then I come up with an assessment fairly quickly, and I only give cursory feedback on the second submission. By then, the students have done the hard yards. They're so shocked at the grade they got the first time around, typically, that they realise, yes, this unit coordinator is very serious about the quality they must reach. They put in the hard work, and they're feeling good, and it actually works. You can see it. Their writing is excellent. And so the marking the second time round has always been very easy.